Well, we've got some brand new breaking polling news on one of the most pressing issues facing our country right now, abortion rights. Ahead of the one-year anniversary of the landmark Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe v. Wade, 61% of voters say they disapprove of the Dobbs decision last year, which ruled there was not a constitutional right to abortion and left the legality of abortion up to individual states. 36% of folks approve of this decision. So who's in that 61% who disapprove of the Dobbs decision? 80% of those folks are female voters from ages 18 to 49. 2/3 are suburban women. 60% of independents, and even 1/3 of Republican voters. So another way to look at this is, for all the talk about how divided we are as a country, this issue, we're actually not that divided. There is a level of consensus because it is across the political divide. Anytime you get over 60% on anything in this country, that's closer to being consensus than divided. Also in these brand new NBC News poll numbers, 53% of voters say that abortion is too difficult to access across the country, even though a plurality, 43%, say that the state they live in has struck the right balance, but it's what they're seeing outside their state's borders. Since the Supreme Court decision, abortion access in this country has changed dramatically. In the last 12 months, nearly half of U.S. states have enacted some kind of abortion ban. 14 states have total abortion bans. 6 states, including Florida and North Carolina, are caught up in court battles to enact more restrictive regulations. But new data shows that even in states where Republican-led legislatures have successfully implemented abortion bans, abortion itself is not going away. It's simply moving across state lines. Take a look at this analysis of where abortions have increased in the past year. Numbers have gone up in states that neighbor those with the most restrictive bans. It's why Ron DeSantis went back for a second bite at the apple when 15 weeks suddenly made Florida an abortion sanctuary state. That's why he's trying to get it down to 6. So some of those states have laws that are more restrictive than other parts of the country. Numbers have also risen in states like Kansas and Nevada, where the right to an abortion is enshrined in their state constitutions. But the Dobbs decision changed much more than just abortion access. The ruling has impacted all of women's health care across the board, as OBGYNs are feeling forced to leave some states. Just finding women doctors when they need them in some of these places is becoming extraordinarily hard to find. A new study by the Kaiser Family Foundation found that 61% OBGYNs practicing in states with abortion bans are concerned about the legal risks now associated with making patient care decisions. For our Meet the Press special that airs tonight right here on NBC News Now, my colleague Kristen Dahlgren explored the upheaval in women's medicine. Here's a portion of that report.
More than half of the counties in Georgia don't have a single OBGYN. There was a shortage before the reversal of Roe v. Wade. But doctors like Joy Baker worry the state's strict abortion ban is compounding the problem.
Anytime we limit access to full scope of care, we are limiting our patients and our practitioners. And when we do that, we may not understand the ripple effects.
State Senator Ed Setzler wrote Georgia's HB 481, which bans abortion with limited exceptions after a heartbeat is detected, around 6 weeks, often well before pregnant patients can get in to see a doctor.
When you think about the telemedicine that's available, you can have a doctor consultation. Those are pretty broadly available across the state.
But you couldn't have a scan to see if there were issues with the fetus.
But I will tell you this, the Life Act balances the difficult circumstances. And I think the idea that there's geographic barriers for certain women in certain communities misses the point that there's a living, beating heart and a child that's worthy of protection.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.